After the horrific killing of Henry Nowak, a protest organised by the far right took place. Let's take a look at some clips.
They're throwing bins!
They're in retreat! The old Bill are in retreat! Shit! Someone just got clonked in the fucking... Oh, he's bleeding! Fuck!
That last clip was a friendly fire. One of the rioters threw a cone and hit the head of somebody else. But guess what? That wasn't the last one. There's another friendly fire. Let's take a look.
Yeah, I don't actually endorse violence.
I mean, I'm impressed at how far the bin was thrown. I mean, if only this person took up an Olympic sport rather than becoming a far-right thug, the world would be a better place. It really landed on his head. Again, I'm quite impressed how far he threw the wheelie bin. Now, I'm sure we'd be told that these are just patriots reclaiming the streets. I presume that also includes those throwing Nazi salutes. I struggle to hear what's actually being said. Are they saying white power or white man? I'm not sure. I don't know. But it's clear that you've got Nazis on the street. Now, far-right agitator Lawrence Fox made an appearance too.
I was going to say, what's the main reason you're out here today? What should we do about all of this?
Because it's the most disgusting thing I've ever witnessed in the world. If this was a young black man, the whole country would be on fire. There'd be McPherson reports, there'd be independent inquiries. Those people in there are your enemy, they're not your friend.
Now, he talks about how, well, if this was a black person, there would be riots. And it's like, well, the white persons were killed, and there are riots. And then says, well, there'll be a McPherson support. Look, there's the McPherson support. There's a difference, right? Okay? A young man was killed because of a disgusting thug who's now locked up for 21 years. And the police did a terrible job in handling it. Apparently, he would have died from his injuries anyway, so he might not have been saved. But we can all still agree that when you have a police officer saying, I don't think you've been stabbed, mate, when someone's saying, I've been stabbed, it's terrible. And yes, we should be angry and we should want better policing. But there's not an institutional anti-white bias in society. Show me the data, right? We know that with people of color. That's why there was a McPherson report. Because there was institutional racism and it came from Stephen Lawrence. Now, this is the same Lawrence Fox who said it should be okay to say the N-word.
I mean, let's take it further. Yeah. Let's go a lot further. I think we should all be able to say the N-word.
Go on then.
Oh, wow. You are fucking hard. You are fucking hard. Saying the N-words in his own arena, in front of a white person, by the way. I wonder if you'd say it in front of a black person. That just shows like the level of gutter that turn up to these far-right rallies. Now, another far-right agitator, young Bob, thought it was appropriate to film himself where Henry was killed.
So this is the actual house where it happened. Just behind me there would have been Henry Nowak when he was on the floor bleeding out.
This is disgraceful. He's literally gone up to where he was killed and filmed it for content. He'll say it's for a movement, but it's still technically content. And you saw, signs perched on the tree, so it wasn't just him. But, others thought it was appropriate to go there. Now, do you think this is what the family of Henry Nowak wants? This is Mark Nowak, Henry's father, making a heartfelt statement after the sentencing.
In our darkest period of our lives, knowing that people were fighting tirelessly for Henry gave us strength. They secured justice for our son, and for that, our family will be forever grateful. For us, there is no closure. There is no moment where the pain stops. There is no moment where the Henry-shaped hole in our family is filled. We will carry this grief every single day for the rest of our lives. But today matters. Today, Henry was believed. The truth has been recognised. Today, justice, in the eyes of the law, has been served. But justice alone is not enough. We want to use Henry's heartbreaking story to make change for the better. We do not want his death to be used to create further division, hatred, or tension. We want his story to make our streets safer for everyone. That is why we are calling on the government to treat knife crime as the national emergency that it is. We need real solutions. We need investment in prevention. We need stronger action on the sale, the ownership and carrying of all knives. And as this case so painfully demonstrates, we need common sense applied to our laws. This doesn't mean knee-jerk reactions. This doesn't mean going to extremes. It just means a common sense approach to law and order. As the case C for the prosecution summed up in court, this is not a case about Sikhism. This is not a case about racism. This is a case about murder. People should not be able to walk openly through the streets of Britain carrying a 21-centimetre blade. As a family, we will not let this go. No other family should experience the heartbreak and horror of losing a child to knife crime. Finally, I want Henry to know, wherever he is, we are so proud of him and we love him beyond words.
That's hard to watch. And that was a very dignified response because he talks about knife crime. He talks about a real issue in society, which is knife crime. He doesn't look at people's race or their religion or where they came from, which is what the far right are doing, which Nigel Farage is doing. He's not trying to pit races against each other. He's saying that there's an issue of knife crime and we should do our best to improve that. And it would be nice if the far right and right would actually talk about knife crime. They only talk about knife crime if they can use it to be racist. Do they actually care about these things? Of course not. They don't give a damn. Now, we've heard many voices on the far right say that multiculturalism has failed. And you know what? They're right. It's true. It has. The culture of getting pissed and taken to our streets, attacking police officers and causing riots. The culture of taking an individual incident and turning it into a force of division across society. Burning down hotels with people inside them. That culture is not compatible with the vast majority of peaceful Muslims, Jews, Christians, and atheists. The right wing are correct. Multiculturalism has failed. But for them, they mean those from different religions or ethnic backgrounds. But actually, a culture of thuggery, rioting, and misogyny. Kevin, what are your thoughts on the fallout of this horrific murder?
I think this is one of the stories that, outside of the victim and their family, I think I hate every single person involved in this for various reasons. I hate Nigel Farage and Tommy Robinson and Lawrence Fox for stirring up a race riot. Not the first time, a point I'll return to later. I hate the right-wing media echo chamber that has boomed this out as if it's remotely explanatory of anything to do with the actual justice system. I hate the police for failing an innocent man. I hate the murderer for both murdering and for using racism as a lie to cover it up, thus endangering the lives of ethnic minorities across the country and giving the right wing an excuse to be more racist, as if they need an excuse, I suppose. I hate Keir Starmer for daring to pretend to give a fuck about civility now, having been the man that's been chasing the voters of Nigel Farage for so long and echoing rivers of blood speeches and such. Yeah, I hate every part of this. It's so utterly depressing and disgusting. It really is. I do have to wonder, at what point, how many race riots can Nigel Farage inspire before anything happens to him? Because you can't say the phrase, I support Palestine action, because that would be terrorism under the British law. You can't hold a sign that says that. You can't even hint at it. without potentially opening yourself up to legal proceeding. But you can inspire now multiple race riots, because let's not forget his involvement in inspiring the riots following the Southport murders. He absolutely is to blame for those, and he's to blame for this one as well. Tommy Robinson, equally so. This is what these people are. They are stochastic domestic terrorists. That is precisely the function they have. When Nigel Farage comes out and says that you need to feel, you need to feel rage, cold rage was the phrase he used, and then people go out onto the street and riot in the way that they did in Southampton and Portsmouth, let's not forget, because the guy who did this, the murderer, his family, who have done nothing wrong, had their house bombarded by thugs in Portsmouth as well. Lots of innocent people being treated terribly for things they did not do. And to the point about that was brought up by Lawrence Fox, one of the many grifters, as with Young Bob and all the rest of it. These people love it. They did the same with Lee Rigby's murder as well. They love to metaphorically hump the corpse of every white man killed by a black man ever. They love it. It's a great opportunity to grift. These people are fucking scum. Absolute scum. And nothing positive can happen until they are metaphorically excised from the body politic. As to Lawrence Fox's point about the Macpherson report, there is a significant difference between an innocent person being murdered for deliberately racial reasons, the police actively doing fuck all to actually provide justice, and no one ever actually being punished for those crimes, and then a report being done into the institutional racism, which, by the way, you don't even have to go back that far. There was a report 18 months ago that said the exact same thing, that they're institutionally racist. The Metropolitan Police, this is. And it's true of police forces up and down the country. We know that statistically, that people of colour are by far the victims of police brutality, stop and search, over-policing. We know this. We absolutely know this for a fact. White man, you are not oppressed. Stop trying to be an oppression Olympian. And there's a difference between that.
Can I just quickly cut you off? I think you're muted on your stream.
Am I muted on my stream?
I'm getting people come in and say,
yeah. Oh, okay. I don't know what happened there. Okay, well, oh God. What I'll do then, I'll put that rant up that I just did, because it was quite good. I'll cut the audio from your stream and just put it up on my channel tomorrow. Perfect. Apologies, everyone. It was fucking awesome.
It was a bloody good one.
Anyway, as to Lawrence Fox's point, there's a difference between an innocent man being killed and the police doing nothing to do with it, get justice, and no justice being sought, and an innocent man being killed and the murderer being found and prosecuted and getting a life sentence. Because it's 21 years minimum. Do you think it's likely he's going to get out after 21 years? I don't think so in the slightest. And that's, of course, before the police, before the government have already said they're going to look into applying this on the unduly lenient sentence statute as well. So it's very possible that will be increased at some point anyway. But either way, this motherfucker is not getting out of jail, possibly ever. And rightly so. I don't mind that particularly. But the point is, if you compare those two things as if they are remotely similar, you're a scumbag. You're an absolute fucking scumbag. You're not in this for good faith. You're not in this for anything like good reasons. You're just a racist, and you want to have an excuse to play the victim. Because as always with the right wing, the accusation is always a confession. When they accuse left-wing people of doing wanting to play the victim or race baiting, is because that is precisely what they wish to do. They want so desperately to be the victim. And they so rarely are that they have to pick on the one case where a white man was killed, but justice was sought and got for that person, to the extent that justice can ever be truly got by the legal system. The man was caught and imprisoned. Please tell me where the father and mother and family and friends of Stephen Lawrence can look to for that justice. Because I don't fucking see it. Anyway, I am openly now calling for these people to be prescribed as terrorists, because that is what they are. That is absolutely what they fucking are.
Well,
If Palestine Action, who have done a scintilla of the amount of violence and corruption to the British political system that Nigel Farage has, can be prescribed as terrorists, how the fuck is Nigel Farage not a terrorist? How the fuck is Tommy Robinson not a terrorist?